Welcome to the Shawnee High School Football Show a la 2025. It's a season we are looking forward to making the playoffs last year, of course. And we're going to bring on Coach Jason Madonna. Coach Madonna, what's going on, man?
Good morning. Good morning. How's it going?
It's going good. You know, we're into August. We're about to start some volleyball games and some softball games, but everybody's also looking forward to that opener in the first part of September. You've just come through some spring practice and summer pride, so we want to talk about this year's team. But first of all, Coach, you have a lot of big names that you lost off of last year's team. Ryan High, Dace, Beavers. Just a lot of players. Talk to us a little bit about those guys, where they're headed, and how you're going to be able to recover.
Absolutely. That was a huge senior class. They were very deep. They were very talented. There's 5 college football players that'll be starting their freshman year. Some are already on campus. Day Shaw and DeMario Joyner, 2 very productive football players for us, are going to be attending NEO Junior College up in Miami, Oklahoma, and they're already on campus. They're already working out, just like we described to them. Their whole day is mapped out from them from 5 a.m. to 10 p.m. But they're working hard. Their bodies are changing. We got Ryan High, who finished as one of our all-time leading tacklers in the program, just the captain of our defense. Him and Dietrich Beavers, everybody's favorite running back. They went up to Bethel College in Kansas, which is actually my alma mater, so that's a pretty cool deal. I'll get to go back and see them play some and kill 2 birds with 1 stone and visit some of my old stomping grounds and get to visit them. And then we had Toby Gray, who ended up at Panhandle State. And so losing that caliber of team, there was a lot of quality players that chose not to go to college football or play college football off that team, and especially defensively. Defensively, you look around and we were peppered with senior playmakers all over. Jameer Owens, just to name one, and it's really difficult, but the beauty about this is, each team is unique. Each team has individuals that are ready to step up. We've got a lot of guys that were played on Monday nights and peppered in on Friday nights that are ready for their opportunities to become the next great class.
Very much so. And you've got a big offensive line everybody knows coming back. But, Coach, you also have some players that are filling in. And we've had a great summer of work. When we come back, let's set the stage from what you learned through the spring about what's going to be hitting the field for everybody in Shawnee to enjoy that first Friday in September. You're watching the Jason Madonna Coaches Show right here on Shawnee CTV.
Benedict Street, Hardesty's Market and Deli is your go-to for all your local meat needs. It's also the perfect spot for lunch, offering your favorite local sandwiches, dips, sweets, and more. Support local. Stop by Hardesty's Market and Deli today.
Good throw gets Bertram. And that's smashed. Nothing new. Shawnee has had a successful year in 24-25. Now we're starting a new one, 25-26. I'm with Coach Jason Madonna, head football coach. And, man, at the end of last year, Coach, you guys coming into spring didn't quite know exactly what you have. Walk us through that spring practice just before your fantastic scrimmage season, late spring, early summer.
Yeah, so you talking about this spring we just had, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it's springtime is always exciting because it's back to football for us, and and you get an opportunity to see guys that have really worked hard in the winter and changed their body and gained a lot of muscle. And Coach Wendelberger, our strength and conditioning coordinator, he did an amazing job this winter with those guys. And we had some guys that really stepped up this spring and emerged themselves as the next round of playmakers. In addition to, we've had some young men that have chosen to come play at Shawnee that weren't necessarily here in the past that are really going to help create some depth and add some playmakers for us. And so as we entered spring, we kind of knew that there was an opportunity for us to be talented. Just like every high school program, we have to stay healthy. We have to continue to develop guys. They got to get better week in and week out. And then we finished up spring ball at Choctaw at our team camp. And there was a lot of compliments from other teams there about the way that our guys were performing. Now, granted, spring ball doesn't necessarily translate to wins in the fall, but it does make us feel like there's a lot of potential in our guys. And we had a really good summer pride. We decided to challenge them. We started our workouts at 6:30 in the morning. We averaged about 50 kids a day. Where in summers past, that number wasn't that big, even at a later start time. So I really feel like they're committed, they're bought in, they're ready. They worked really hard this summer. And we're really excited for Monday the 11th when we get them out there in helmets and we get to start moving around and continuing our installs and putting all the pieces together.
Well, coming off of last year, you knew that you would be good on the offensive front. You've got two D1 prospects that are up there, really built well, but you've got a lot of players in that front five, and you've got some on the periphery that can help in case of injury. Talk a little bit about your position in high school, how important it is, and some of those guys that you have leading that front line.
Absolutely. We're going to be massive. I'm just going to tell you, we've got to run a lineman in the high school that are really big bodies, hard workers, and talented. And that starts with Jaquan Evans and Caden Bramlage. Our right tackle and our right guard, they both secured commitments this summer. Jaquan's committed to North Texas University, and then Caden Bramlage is committed to Lamar University, which is down outside the Houston area, both Division I programs. So they've earned that themselves. They've really put in work. They work hard. They're here all the time. They're putting in work on their own, going to camps, going to trainings. And so they've really given themselves the opportunity for that, and it's going to pay off for them. We return our center, Kendall Gilham, who had a really growth season last year, and now we're excited to see him continue that this year. And then on our left side of our line, we return Chuffy Waldron, who's a 2-year starter who battled some injuries as a freshman, but he started the first 4 games for us as a freshman, and then played all year at left tackle for us, and is really a staple on that side. And then we've added a couple pieces that rotated in last year's in Rosario Serena and Ethan Lane, and then Kay Donaghy is a guy that chose to come over to Shawnee and play for us, and has played at other places and really talented for us. And so we're really excited about the guys up front. They have to lead us offensively. We're going to lean on them heavy, but I think they're ready for the challenge.
Well, last year you had Beavers back there. Dace would go back there. Garrett showed up big. He's coming back. You had 2 seniors leave, though. How important is the running game, and how are you going to attack it this year?
Well, it is extremely important. That's the basis for high school football. If you can run the ball, you can control the clock, and you give yourself an opportunity to win. And we got Garrett coming back that had success when he was in there as a freshman. He started primarily in the defensive backfield, and so we sprinkled him in here and there offensively. But when you have a senior like
he got a Shawnee CTV MVP, though, out of it.
Yeah, he did. And you kind of saw flashes there towards the end of the year when he breaks a long run versus McAllister. And then, he has some success there. And so we're really excited to see what he can do. We've got a young man named Dayton McClendon who came over, who was an 1,800-yard rusher last year at Prague. And they decided to move into Shawnee and come play for us. And so he's extremely talented, really fast. And so he's excited to run behind those big boys that we got up there too. And then a young man named Travion Barber who decided to come play for us, got some carries this spring at team camp. And And so we're really excited about the stable of backs we have. We got guys that can carry the ball. Mason Wilson is another name that people haven't seen yet, but he's a guy that's quick and shifty and can carry the football. So we feel really good about the depth that we have at that position. And so it's going to be a highlight for us, we believe.
Love it, man. I love it. That's exciting. Beaver's a hard one to replace. Everybody knows such an undersized but overpowering back. People would just bounce right off of him. But another interesting move that has happened, of course, is Iron Campbell moving on, and he is dedicating himself towards post-school, getting the education that he needs, and doing some great things. But that left a vacancy at the quarterback, and you had the grace of God happen, it seems like, as you got a move in. Tell us about the quarterback position and how you anticipate that playing out.
Well, we've got a young man that started for us in the spring, Braylon Lassiter, and he's coming to us from Norman North High School, where he's also going to play some defensive back. Matter of fact, he holds an offer from Oklahoma Baptist University as a corner, and he'll play some of that for us too. But he's a young man that played quarterback his whole life growing up, and just wanted an opportunity to finish out his high school career playing that position. And so they they decided to make the move to come to Shawnee so he could have that opportunity. He's a really talented athlete. With a really strong arm, and so being able to use him in the run game as well as the ability to throw the ball, and we've got some receivers that we feel really confident about for him to throw to, and so we're excited to see that potential. Now he's going to have to come in, he's going to have to work hard, he's going to have to play within the system, play within himself, but we think he's going to have an opportunity to help us be successful.
I have really liked watching some of the spring and in the summer how his teammates are responding to him. He seems to be a glue guy, meaning he seems to bring people together and emulsify the team a bit. That's important at that quarterback position. How do you see him navigating the leadership role of quarterback with these guys who have experienced Shawnee football for a long time?
Yeah, it's not always easy. It's not always easy for a young man to come in and be a leader. Now, he does have a big personality, and so he needs to use that to his advantage. He's got to continue. He's got to come in and work hard and gain the respect of his teammates. He doesn't have the luxury of having been around guys for 4, 5, 6 years. So that's going to be something that he's going to have to continue to do. I think he did a good job this spring of just kind of, not worrying about the past and just focusing on the present and the team that's here and the young men that are around him. And just like all of us, it's a continuous growth process. There's going to be highs, there's going to be lows, but how can we maintain all those throughout? And so if he'll come in and just let his personality shine, and he'll outwork everybody and show that he can be a leader through example, then I think he'll continue to win the hearts of these guys and help lead our offense to a lot of positivity.
Well, I've said through the spring that I think that the full success, not all the success, but the full success of this team is going to rest in who we're going to talk about when we come back from this break. You're watching the Coach Madonna Coaches Show on Shawnee CTV, where together, all of us, we build community one season at a time. We will be back momentarily and talk about key components for our upcoming football season. Castor Key Auto Mart, online or in person. Castor Key Auto Mart. They're good people to deal with. Good throw gets Bertram. That smash, nothing new. We are back with Coach Jason Madonna. Coach Madonna, thanks, man, for taking some time to do this. Right now, you're in the midst of some training, aren't you? Head coaches from around the state?
Oh, well, we just finished up our bus driver training, and yeah, we had our clinic last week where we kind of got refreshed on the rules and rule changes and things like that. And so now we've kind of our Shawnee coaches have been meeting and preparing for the season and getting ready. Our kids are taking a little break, letting their bodies recover and recuperate because, as we all know, the season is a long grind. It's a lot of work and it's a lot of commitment for a young person, and so we try to give them a little time to just go relax, be kids, go swimming, do all those things, get their haircuts, get ready for school time to begin, and then we'll get it rolling on Monday.
Well, we're going to talk about one of the most important pieces on the field, I feel, this year in just a moment, but I want you to have opportunity. What about your coaches? You have some new ones. You've got some that have switched some positions, and you guys had a kind of your what do we foresee for this season meetings over the last couple of days. Talk a little bit about your coaches and first of all, the philosophy you're bringing in to this season and what your anticipation is with your coaching staff.
Yeah, well, when I was a young coach, I had a veteran tell me, he said, hire good people and the football will figure itself out. And I really feel like we've done that here. With the help of Dax Leone, our athletic director, and all of our administration, we've been able to bring in some really high quality guys that are also passionate about football. Of course, my right-hand man, Coach Blitch, he's been doing his thing. He's one of the smartest guys in the business, and his ability to break down opponents' offenses and get our defensive guys ready and develop talent is really beneficial for us. So, he's been getting after it all summer. Getting prepared to fill in a lot of quality players that graduate, as we talked about before. Coach McGuire was the guy.
So with Coach Blitch mentioning as well, Blitzing with Blitch comes back this year. Pre-game, we'll be able to talk with Coach Blitch about the upcoming opponent. And that's not a common thing for a head coach to allow happen. Is an assistant coach to kind of take the microphone and be able to talk like that. First of all, I want to thank you because we've learned a lot from Coach Blitch, but also that speaks to how highly you respect Coach Blitch and the reins that you give him, Coach. You really do. You really do think highly of him.
I do. None of this, as far as our, quote unquote rebuild or kind of our, progression in the program is possible without him. When he was my first hire, whenever I got the job, and we competed against each other for a long time, as many people know. And so the ability to add a quality piece like that, in my opinion, he's a head coach and he chooses to stay here and help build this. And so I'm forever grateful for him doing that and choosing Shawnee because he's got a lot of options. He's that high quality of a coach. So the fact that he chooses to be here and help this community and this school district have a quality football program is a blessing. I think people need to hear from him. I tell him all the time, so this is no secret. He's one of the most creative minds in our game, and I appreciate that. It was absolutely a nightmare every time I had to face him and try to figure out what's he going to do? What's his plan? How's he going to attack me? And so to have that on my side now, I feel extremely confident. I'm ready to go because he's a guy that takes great pride in how we play defensively on Friday night. And I think people have seen that progression over the last 2 years.
Well, and you brought back a quarterback of your own. He's been on your staff, kind of touch and go a little bit over the last few seasons, but let's talk a little bit about McGuire. You were about to bring him up.
Yeah, so Coach McGuire, he actually played for me. So the summer going into his 8th grade year, I was his summer ball coach way back in the day before I had this beard and all these gray hairs. And so he's kind of a young man that I've got to watch grow up. And then when he was finishing his college degree, he knew he wanted to be a football coach. So he called us and at that time we were at Del City. And so he just kind of hung around and kind of tried to learn the profession. And we had some really high quality coaches on that staff. Guys that are head coaches in prominent programs and coordinators in prominent programs. So he got to really take a master's class, so to speak, around some really good football coaches that we had on that staff. And then, he started his career at Del City and spent 6 years there. And then, there was a situation, an opportunity for him to kind of join us out here in Shawnee, and he took it. And so we're very thankful for the administration here at that time that hired him and got him here. And so he spent last year with us coaching our running backs, and so we decided to promote him to offensive coordinator, and that's going to be a huge blessing for us to kind of, give me another set of eyes and a quality mind. He's a really sharp young coach that's had a lot of high level experience with us at Del City, and he actually took over for me the year that they made the state championship game and won a silver ball at UCO on the last Saturday of the season. So that experience adding to our staff is going to bring a lot to us, and so we're really excited to have him. We added another piece on the offensive staff, and Coach Bullock, who's a long time head coach and coordinator around the state, who brings 15, 16 years of experience calling plays. And so he's going to be able to step in and help Coach McGuire and help me develop our offense and continue to progress. We understand that there was times last year we didn't play well offensively. You look at the playoff game, you look at the McAllister game, and some of the PC North game. And so one big focus for me this offseason was, I've got to bring guys in that are going to continue to help us grow. We had some great guys on staff, and we added some more pieces. So I feel really confident with those two, with Brendan Brown, with Tyler Harrison, Coach Randy Henshaw, to help continue to develop our offense to where now it can be a consistent positive for us.
What about everybody loves Harrison? Where's Harrison? Come on.
Coach Harrison?
Yeah.
Yeah, man, that's our guy, man. He's now he's going to take over the boys tennis program. So he's a high level football mind for us on football staff. We're really lucky he decided to stay with us, but he's going to coach our tight ends and our running backs. And so, he's a guy that's been in Shawnee for a long time. He's a Shawnee veteran, man. He's a staple. I was lucky enough that I knew him from before. We went to the same high school, played for the same head coach and coaching staff, and so I know he comes from good stock. He's really sharp, really smart, builds great relationships with the kids. He's also coaches wrestling, and now he's going to coach tennis. So I mean, it's an absolute blessing to have him on our staff.
Agreed. And go ahead. You can say that was Coach Rose over at Carl Albert. It's Coach Rose, of course, one of the most decorated head football coaches in state history, is a Shawnee High School graduate.
That's true. Shawnee has graduated some really big time head football coaches in the state of Oklahoma, and Coach Rose talks about his experience at Shawnee a lot. We still communicate, we still meet. So he's a big positive influence in my life, going all the way back to when I was a 14-year-old kid, all the way now till I'm 40, and he talks about, the lessons that he learned, and to hear somebody that's got 15 plus state championships under his belt talk about he was still learning and growing as a coach, even in his later years, kind of lets me know that it's okay to continue to grow and get better. We're not going to be perfect. And so that's a huge lesson that he brings to the table for us.
Agreed. And we're about to get lessoned with some more, by that I mean taught by you, with some more playmakers, because we're going to talk about the most important aspect, I think, of us being able to take the next step and advance in the playoffs when we come back. You're watching the Jason Madonna, head Shawnee High School football coach. It's not as easy to say as blitzing with Blitch, man.
Yeah, that's true. That's all right. We'll keep it simple. I don't need any fancy titles.
We will be back.
First Med Urgent Care offers on-site x-rays and lab, post-injury drug screening, care for lacerations and abrasions, relief from allergies, and so much more. Choose First Med Urgent Care, where your health is our priority.
Discover the sweet side of Shawnee at St. Gregory's Abbey. Here our monks care for over 300 beehives and work together to package and provide pure, delicious local honey to our Shawnee neighbors.
All right, Coach. Now, I truly believe that our season. And if we are to take that next step, it's those 8 to 12 yard passes that we have to be money on every time. And we've got some players coming back with Ramel, Jay Hunt, Tyree, and you've got others that you can talk about. Talk to us about that receiving core, and also talk about the importance of that short pass game and how that does make a huge difference for our offense.
Yeah, we want to be run heavy, as we saw last year, but in order to create that space, you have to be able to throw and catch the football, and it can't just be downfield shots. You have to be consistent in the intermediate and the quick game passes, and so we were trying to continue to develop that. But just like anything, you have to progress, and so we've got some playmakers on the edge for us, and Ramel Slaughter and Jaden Hunt, who have had really good summers, really good springs, really good summers. I mean, if you look at their X accounts, both of them made big-time plays versus high-quality opponents in our team camp. We went against some of the best 5As and the best 6A1 team from last season, and they were able to create opportunities and make plays for. And so we're really excited about that dynamic. It's going to cause some stress on defenses to have to be able to cover those guys and stop our run game with our offensive line and our stable of running backs. So, those guys have put in a lot of work. They spent a lot of times on the jugs machine. They spent a lot of time just throwing and catching and developing the coordination and the timing with the quarterbacks. A lot of people just look at it and they think it's easy. We'll just catch the football. But they don't understand that the placement of the ball, the velocity of the ball, the spin, the timing, the distance of the routes, the steps, the coverage. Like there's a lot of underlying factors that go into it. It's not just as easy as, just yelling at them, catch the football. I wish it was that simple, but it's not. And those guys they're gonna have negative plays. They're gonna drop balls, and that's part of it. Just like anything, a lineman's gonna miss a block, a quarterback's gonna have a bad throw. We're gonna miss tackles. We know those negatives are coming, and so we just have thick skin and short memory, and we just get ready for the next play.
Well, I'm working with Jay Hunt, saying elite, because he certainly has all the qualities to be elite out there. But I tell him, I said, I catch. That's his phrase, man. Yeah. I catch.
He's a guy that's really emerged. You saw him in the playoff game, had some opportunities. He had an opportunity to catch a touchdown in the playoff game. He got behind the coverage, and it was kind of a tough ball, and we didn't come down with it, but that's okay. He really emerged, and he did it the right way. He did it through JV. He showed on JV last year that he was a varsity player, and then kind of got in his opportunity to get into the game, and then was able to be consistent. And now he's a focal point for us, and was able to secure a Division II offer this summer at Oklahoma Baptist. So we're looking for his recruiting to really pick up. And he's a track guy. That's his passion, and he loves the springtime and running around the track. And so he's been able to translate those skills over to the football field and create opportunities for himself.
Well, we certainly appreciate, Jason, you taking your time and talking with us. We've focused on offense today, and we've got another to bring in for defense. We've talked enough about him, but we get to kick off a Blitzing with Blitch to hear how impressed he is with the defensive side. But just real quick, what are you feeling about both offense, defense this year, and what your coaching staff and our crowd is going to be able to witness come September?
Yeah, absolutely. I didn't get to dive into it earlier, but the assistant defensive coaches that we have, I think, are on par with any staff. I'd be willing to put them up again. Coach Dustin Lovelace, our D-line guy, D-line coach, he's a disciplinarian. He's one of the best in the business, and he's played it at the highest level you possibly can. William Hilden, our young guy just coming out of playing college football in Kansas, and he brings a lot of young, fresh ideas, and so we're really excited about his growth. And then kind of a staple here in Shawnee, Coach Williams and Coach Clemens. Those are guys that are big community guys that choose to be a part of our staff and help us in any ways they can. And so those guys really help Coach Blitch, and he'll tell you that they really challenge his thought process, and they really push him and give great ideas. And so we're really excited about the potential we have. you know, potential is just that, potential. We have to go do it. You know, we have to go execute. We understand that. You know, our main goal is to continue to progress the program. You know, we want to be eventually we want to be the type of program that when you think about 5A football, Shawnee comes to mind up there with the guys that have been doing it for a long time. And so we understand that that's not an overnight deal, that it's a long-term goal for us, and we want to continue that pace, continue that progress. I feel, you know, if you look at us on paper, I think we have a lot of talent. You know, we've got guys that have earned that right to be called talented. You know, they've put in work, they've created themselves opportunities. And so now it's time for us to put it together as a team. And if we can gel as a team, if we can bond as a team, and then we can really put forth a quality product on Friday night. If you look at our schedule, there are no cupcakes on there. You know, every single team that we will play every week has an opportunity to beat us. And that being said, every single team that we will play every single week, we have an opportunity to beat. So it's really going to be a week-to-week basis, you know, and our goal is to not have any setbacks and to be the best team available come August 11th and continue to progress all the way until our opportunities are over. And that's what we have to be focused on. We had a really high-quality opponent coming in here on September 5th, the opening game, and they beat our butts last year. You know, you can go back and watch it on Shawnee CTV. They absolutely beat our butts. And so, there's no grace period. You know, we're getting right after it, and we have to prepare ourselves for an opportunity to win that game. And it starts with our scrimmage season. You know, we will host our round robin scrimmage with Blanchard, Chickasha, and Noble, and those are high quality team. Blanchard is a team that in 4A they're constantly in the mix for a state championship, and they're coming here, and we're going to scrimmage them and have that opportunity to expose our weaknesses so we can continue to improve on them. So we like to play tough people, and we enjoy the challenge week in and week out, and we're excited for that in 2025.
And that scrimmage, everybody can come to. They can get a kind of a preseason feel, right? That's right around August 26th. Is it a Saturday?
No, it'll be the 22nd, I believe. It's a Friday night.
Okay.
And so
2 weeks before. 2 weeks before the start of the season.
Correct. Yeah, 2 weeks before the start of the season, and we'll kind of. For those of you that haven't been in one before, kind of everybody will get an opportunity to run some live plays at each other. And then when we get done with those rotations, Noble will scrimmage Chickasha in the half game, and then Shawnee will scrimmage Blanchard to finish it off. And so there's going to be a lot of talent out there. It'd be a great opportunity for you to come out and kind of check us out and see what your Wolves have, and then see some good competition and kind of get ready for 2 weeks later when we host the Panthers of PC North.
Well, one thing for certain is it's going to be a fun year. Coach Madonna, stay with me. I'm going to take you off just for a second, but stay with us, and we want to thank you for being with us as we close out the show. Thank you.
All right.
You can't help but be excited for the upcoming football season. We can't help but be excited for bringing you volleyball, softball, and football all throughout the fall. All the kids are working hard, and all the teams look poised to progress from their seasons last year. Volleyball went to state last year, softball with a new coach and a new era, and Shawnee High School football coming on strong with a lot of talent coming back and joining the team this year after a playoff run last year. As always, at Shawnee CTV, we want to thank you for tuning in. What a privilege it is to be able to do what we do. And remember, Shawnee, all of us together, we build community one season at a time. We will see everybody later.